Good morning, good morning. What's up, folks? How was everybody this morning? What's up, Navy Plum? What's up, MSY11? Hamad, what's up? What's up? Good morning, everybody. Let me get my screen sharing going here. I want to share this screen. Yeah. All right, we're live. No Discord crashes or any of that craziness this morning, so that's good. Let's give folks just a couple of minutes to start to filter in here before we start digging into too much stuff. I hope everybody's doing well, though. Very weird price action on the market yesterday, I'd say. SPY plan. Oh, of course, I just deleted those drawings. There we go. SPY plan. Definitely had some convincing fake outs going both directions, and in hindsight I was very tied up yesterday until later in the afternoon. I didn't do any trading personally, but we didn't really get any price targets until the very end of the day. Got kind of close on this break to the upside, but looking at it, some very convincing breakdowns, back tests of our entry levels, and just no follow through. So very weird price action. Every once in a while we will have those days. So that's why nobody has a 100% win rate. So anyway, like I said, weird price action on SPY yesterday. That kind of is what it is. We've got some more people coming in here. What's up, H Tart? What's up, Jack? What's up, Turbo Tube? I don't know why that little frog avatar that Turbo Tube has reminds me of that. It's like a CGI video of like a lizard. And it's really this guy, I think it's like a comedian who's like tripping on acid. And he says the craziest shit. Like, not my chair, not my problem. Still say that to this day. Anyway, that little avatar reminds me of that guy. Or that video. What's up, TurboTube? Good morning to you, buddy. What's up, Sando? What's up, I'm going to say Steen? Stain? I don't know. Stigens? All right. Good morning. Looking at futures here, not a great look on things, in my opinion, as far as like not looking great for upside bullishness right now. The thing that is most concerning to me is that we lost this weekly trend line, and let me do this real quick just so we can kind of focus purely on charts, levels, drawings, that sort of stuff. Had this weekly trend line in place. It's about October, cruising to the upside. We got our third tap here, which to me looked like pretty solid confirmation that that trend line is something that we're going to want to pay attention to. But here we are the very next week after getting that third touch in reaction, and kind of struggling to hold it. I mean, we're not technically below it. It's not technically invalidated until this weekly candle closes. But zooming in, looking at the hourly chart here, the thing that's, again, a little bit concerning to me is that now that we've broken down, we're finding resistance either right at it. I mean, we had this little bit of a push higher and rejection and, attempt to kind of reclaim it right here. But here we are, rejecting it kind of cleanly, similar to this rejection right here, almost looking like a little bit of like a, technically this could be a double top, really almost a triple top, to tell you the truth. So double, triple top, I mean, it depends on how precise you need those touches to be, but I'd say very close to triple, quadruple top really on the hourly chart here. So it's kind of forming a little bit of a symmetrical triangle pattern here, though we have been building some higher lows, but we are, like I said, kind of rejecting some key levels here. And really, if you want to look at just a static level, the one that I'm kind of continuing to keep my eye on is this 42.9650 level. This is weekly support and resistance on S&P futures. So these green weekly levels are kind of key, some of the stronger levels that I personally put on my charts. The way I color code things, green levels are weekly support and resistance levels. So what's up, Chris? Good morning to you, buddy. Get some of that good coffee action in. So we are creating this symmetrical triangle pattern, but rejecting, like I said, this trend line so far that we've broken below. This is something that we really need to reclaim, especially with only essentially really 2 days, if you count today, left in the week for us to get back above this. So bulls need to step up big time here, and certainly if we lose this, sort of hourly trend line that we've been building on since what I was going to say yesterday morning. We really need to hold that for bulls to kind of stay in this fight. Otherwise, I think we could potentially invalidate this 4240 level in this demand zone, which just opens up, another leg down, in my personal opinion. So, and this is a 4-hour demand zone that we're holding, so we have not invalidated it yet. We printed below, but not invalidated yet. And then nice bounce off of it there, but like I said, this is not a great look for bulls at the moment, but again, this could be sort of how they want to set things up, get people kind of looking at the market not holding up seasonality wise. I would say, we should be leaning a little bit bullish, but I would rather follow my charts than kind of base things off of, seasonality, even though it can be a helpful tool or benchmark to use. So, all right, we've got some ticker requests in here already from TurboTube. Yeah, or Hopium, that too. Good point, Chris. Good point. So we've got, let's see, Tesla, Google, Target. Yeah, we can take a look at all of those. Let's also just really quickly recap a couple of our trade plans. Yesterday we did Meta. Almost got a confirmed break again. I say this all the time on these podcasts, live streams, whatever you want to call them. Be careful rushing in too close to open. Give the market at least 15 to 30 minutes to settle down a little bit. Let me hide these indicators real quick. But again, opened up below our put entry level, but that did not matter too much. Again, in my personal opinion, broke back above, started back testing it as support, and then pushed higher. Kind of still in no man's land though. This is the one that we did Tuesday pre-market on Meta, and so we're again kind of in no man's land, sitting in supply currently. So really we're looking for 310.26 to break. Personally, what I'd be looking for to play this to the upside. You can review in the chat area here of the live stream channel if you scroll up in the chat section, which if you're not currently looking at it, little word bubble top right hand in the corner. I know right hand corner of your screen. I know I mentioned that. Did somebody walk into your office and get ready to start chewing you out and you're like, oh crap, let me make sure I'm muted? Where's the morning entertainment, Chris? Come on, bring it. So anyway, Meta, we're still looking for an entry here. In my personal opinion, haven't really gotten a convincing break below 299.98, and certainly haven't even tested 310.26 since we put this trade plan together. The other one that we worked on Tuesday pre-market. In fact, let me scroll this back so it looks right. I'm looking at a different chart than the one I shared in the chat, a different layout, and I just put these on this morning because I realized I forgot to do it. Apple is kind of in an interesting spot. Did look like it had lost convincingly and was back testing with rejections. Its trend line that it's been holding, but back over it here pre-market, coming to test it with some decent confluence of support, honestly. So Apple could be the thing that kind of gets the market back in gear as far as the bulls are concerned. But still waiting for a break 173.57. No, I'm sorry, a break of 174.57 here on Apple to potentially play this to the upside. If you like to, sort of catch reversals, could have one coming up here around 172.60 going into market open. That could give us a bounce and start pushing things higher off this confluence of got the bullish flag here on Neptune, currently under a long signal, 100 SMA, ascending trend line there, which again looked a little bit invalidated to me as far as going into the extended hour session between Tuesday and yesterday, but so far holding up. And then AMD, this is one that I'm personally keeping an eye on. It's actually testing my stop loss level that I'm looking at, Moonshot. put an alert out on this, and actually I was looking at the same thing as far as a break over this trend line that it's been under for quite some time. I mean, that looked like a pretty convincing break to me. Certainly not game over yet. Coming down to test some confluence here under the long signal there on Neptune. Bullish flag. Key level here at 103.22. My personal stop loss level for my position. I grabbed it very end of day, and it was kind of on a whim, so I didn't alert it. Moonshot already had an alert out kind of under the same idea. I just went with a closer strike and more time because that's how I just generally prefer to trade. So keep an eye on AMD. This is one I think we did over the weekend as far as trade plans goes. Caught PT1 Tuesday while I was golfing to the downside and has made a huge bounce and rally. In fact, it looks like a little bit of a cup and handle with a breakout there. So keeping an eye on AMD. Tesla, all right, let's get to that. That was TurboTube asked for us to take a look at Tesla. Tesla, we did do a trade plan for with the member selected tickers that I did over the weekend. They did have lower than expected delivery numbers, so we did this trade plan, posted it Sunday evening, so this was out before this pre-market action started. They got their delivery numbers released, dumped all the way down to our third price target for puts and bounced up, consolidated for a little bit, came back down very close to a second tap of PT1 to the downside. Certainly got it, and then some pre-market the following day. But again, as you get within a reasonable range of your price targets, good point in time to start scaling some contracts out for profit, because you can have things like this happen where you get the full touch, but it happens during extended hours, and then things start to reverse because, again, we're using these as price targets. They're expected to act as support, which is why we want to take profits out before things reverse against us. Strong reversal yesterday from Tesla, pushing higher. Trying to hold over PT2 here this morning, but again, market wide, things are kind of pulling back a little bit. We probably had some economic data this morning that I forgot to talk about early on. Non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. No, I'm sorry, that's tomorrow. We do have non-farm payrolls though, and unemployment rate tomorrow at 8:30. Non-farm payrolls is probably going to be the big one. The consensus expected to be 170,000 jobs in growth. Previous was 187, so they're still kind of trending things a little bit lower. But this morning we did have imports, exports, and initial jobless claims. Initial jobless claims came in higher than the previous, just below the consensus. I'd be really surprised if that reading is what's pushing us down. There's no really consensus on imports or exports for August. Exports were up, imports were actually down a little bit, so I'd say that's actually pretty good compared to the previous readings. Forecasts were also both a little bit above expectations. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised on this pullback that we're seeing so far, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on things. This could just be a little bit of a shakeout or trying to get people to close out positions right at the open if they're worried about things reversing further and things then continue to push higher. But we're keeping an eye on things. Again, let's follow the charts. So going back to Tesla trade plan. Again, we're tapping price targets to the upside from our existing trade plan. So let's go back over to the playbook. Let's see if we can't come up with something that looks good for possible continuation here on Tesla. For my man TurboTube. What's up, everybody who's just joined us, by the way? Thanks for coming. We are now working, after doing some trade recaps, talking about sort of where the market's standing in general. I'm going to start working on a new trade plan for Tesla here. I see why Tesla is rejecting. Tapping the next supply zone to the upside, even though we're a little shy of resistance. How does the stock move pre-market when you can't trade? Well, no. You can trade equities pre-market, cup of magic. Some tickers you can't. They just don't have extended hours trading at all. But I'd say the vast majority, especially any of the big names, high volume, high market cap tickers, generally you can trade both pre-market and extended hours Some have different cutoff times, start and cutoff times, I should say. But yeah, you can absolutely trade shares outside of the 9:30 to 4 p.m. kind of options cash trading session. Yeah, yeah. You do see, a lot of kind of the street traders, market makers, whatever you want to call them. That's where they're sort of moving things around and positioning themselves. It's why I personally like to account for extended hours when I'm looking at drawing my support and resistance levels, setting up my trade plans, running my indicators, etc. There's definitely two schools of thought about it. Some people prefer to focus on the cash session. They can be just as successful as somebody who accounts for extended hours. So it's one of the great kind of examples, and I say this often, that the market and trading is definitely more art than it is science. Even though it is heavily math and kind of science driven, actually executing and coming up with a trading system is not one size fits all. That's my point. All right, let's see. Some 4-hour demand or supply zones here that we took out, but again, we're tapping this next one to the upside this morning. Also looks like a little bit of a back test of this ascending trend line that Tesla had. I think this was an hourly trend, and it's since rejected that, but it is creating some room to the upside now before it tests that again as potential resistance. So I'm going to actually leave that trend line on watch here. Sorry, I'm trying to get a more zoomed out look here for just a second. Also hide these indicators for a minute. Tends to be a little bit too much noise until I'm ready to start really dialing in a trade plan. So, speaking of trade plans, let's get this Tesla one done. Alright, so let me just clean this up a little bit so I don't get too distracted, although I think I'm actually going to wind up using this level for a put entry level, just based on this 4-hour chart. Yeah, and I feel pretty confident about this being our call entry level up here, which is currently, I think, PT3, 263.75. Yes, I think a break over that does a couple of things. It clears out this next supply zone, but I think it opens room to the upside for a leg up from there. Also gives us, I think, probably a pretty good stop loss level to watch right here at 261.22. Below that, things could get real dicey. So I would not want to be holding calls back below that level if I'm taking an entry above 263.75. Right? Yeah, 263.75. Then the question becomes first price target. Big imbalance here on this candle. But I think what I would be looking at, there is a weekly level in the way here. We did test it a little bit as support before dropping down pretty strongly. But just looking at this big sell imbalance here, I think we could start to actually eat through some of that. If we get back over this 263.75, also puts us about smack dab in the middle of the supply zone. I think that's a reasonable first price target up here at 266.93. I also like this second price target, which looks like it's something I had from an old trade plan there at 268.35. So I like that as PTs 1 and 2. Let me just double check this on the hourly chart. Oh yeah, I've got tons of levels on anything that I've done, trade plans on or analysis on with any level of frequency jugs. And the reason for that is because they tend to not move very much, right? So put these levels on your chart, and then what I do, that's very much how I do the SPY plan every day. You should see that chart. It's insane. It's probably that probably is literally like 1,000 levels. But then all I have to do is pull up the chart and kind of find my confluences, look at my price action, see how things have played out sort of in recent trading days. So I'm kind of, I put in a lot of time, long story short, put in a lot of time developing my levels, and that's why I leave them on the chart. Sometimes you need to make some slight adjustments to them as the price action sort of pushes things up or down a little bit as far as your existing support and resistance levels go. But you can get hundreds of trade plans out of those levels if you take the time. So if I work with like a naked chart that I've never looked at before, no drawings on it, whatever, I go through a pretty long process and really dial in. I probably spend like an hour just doing support and resistance levels on a new chart. But then, I can get 100 trade plans out of that hour of work, and the returns on that time invested are significant, and the execution and how my plans play out, uh, kind of have much better results when I take the time to do that, and I'm using my existing levels. Yeah, about an hour, and I start, with the weekly chart and kind of keep working my way down through a number of different time frames until, I'm kind of satisfied that things within a reasonable range as far as where we could possibly go as like a low for the foreseeable future and where we could go as a high for the foreseeable future. Once I've got all that mapped out, I lock it in and keep just picking the levels, right? And then I'll change the properties of the levels, right? Kind of like what I'm doing here, where I've got my entry level, I switched to a solid line here. I talked about this a little bit Tuesday. Entry level, I switched to a solid line. I just switch my price targets to dashed lines, make a heavy 4-pixel dotted line for my stop loss average down, and I can look at this chart and know exactly what I need to do. I mean, that's why I say all the time in these podcasts, plan your trades, trade your plans, right? That's all we're doing is setting up our plans, and we're using our existing support and resistance levels to do that. So anyway, that's why I have a ton of levels on here. Thanks for bringing that up. Sorry for the long spiel that you probably didn't intend to get into. But I think it's, also an important discussion, something to pay attention to. So I'm kind of wondering, might shoot just this one level higher. It's not a big difference. Honestly, I think this 254.63 is probably what we actually tap, but just to encourage us to be a little bit more proactive about taking profits early and often, I'm going to shoot for that 255.16 level. I think we share a stop loss here at this 261.22. So the next price target below that definitely looks like 253.01. And then, yeah. We could shoot a bit lower actually from there. We could make it down to 249.17 to be honest. Zoom out on the daily long-term downtrend line, okay? Yeah, I think I have that actually. Yeah, why don't you say that? I think it might actually be a weekly trend. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. There's your 3 touches. This tested very close, rejected. Yeah, this goes back to all-time highs on Tesla, this blue line. So if that breaks out, that could be huge. Yeah, Cybertruck, they've got some stuff in the works, and they're also rolling into some of this other stuff like this quantum computing and Dojo and all that. I don't know if that's technically quantum computing. I shouldn't say that. But they're kind of supercomputer for AI and stuff like that. Yeah, they're getting into some stuff that's beyond just vehicles. As I'm looking at this chart again, I think I'm going to go with my guide. I think I might be getting a little too greedy. Keep that 249.17 level on watch, but let's flip our indicators on. Let's see if that changes any of my analysis or confirms really any of my analysis. So here's one interesting thing that is a little worrisome about where I currently have our put entry. That's this 333 SMA sitting right there near confluence with 258.24. So I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to make a slight adjustment to this. I think we're going to switch this up. It's also going to break through some of this bullish kind of near-term buying pressure here on my trend ribbon indicator. I think we're looking at, I think that's a smarter entry. It's a little bit more of a weight, but I think it's a smarter entry. And I think that also then, to me, adjust our stop loss level down a little bit, because I am seeing pretty good support showing up around this 259, what is that, 259.51 level. So I think that that would be a smart place to put a... Yeah, also we're getting rejections right around that and lower leading into that level, so we could set it a little tighter, but I don't think that that gives this plan enough room to work out, personally. If we're making that adjustment, I think also, well, you know, hang on, look at this for a second. Sorry. What's up, Strife? Oh, it's all good. Better late than never, my friend. Thanks for coming. Yeah, we could have a level here on the hourly. Yeah, I'm not going to go with that, though. Let's go with this. I think we do... Just look at this one more way. Sorry, I'm getting very wishy-washy on this downside trade plan, but I just want to make sure I'm not putting anybody in a bad spot with what I'm thinking here. I am going to adjust this down. Sorry, I really don't mean to belabor this, but I'd rather set you guys up for success than rush. Yeah, I like that. That's a much cleaner looking plan in my opinion. Okay, so just to kind of, when I post this chart so it's not a little freaking eyesore. Let's go drop this on a different layout real quick. Where's my... Let's see. Down. It's a great plan on this chart, right? Oh, psych. I do. No, this is drawings from a mentoring session that I did at some point. I'm pretty sure we... 56 drawings. We spent a lot of time. That might be for somebody I'm currently working with, actually. So let's do this. Sorry. Oh, we'll go to here. There we go. All right, so just so that doesn't become distracting. This is what we're looking at for our Tesla trade plan. Like that. Let's adjust this just a little bit so it looks right, and I'm starting to do this now so these entry levels stick out a little bit more. All right, so here's what we're looking at for Tesla. So what we're waiting for as far as the upside goes is a break at 263.75. I think that gives us targets at 266.93, 268.35, and 270.28 with the stop loss average down at 261.22. To the downside, we kind of adjusted this around a couple of times, but I like this maybe a little bit more than the initial plan I came up with. Probably a little bit more of an aggressive entry on that initial plan, and I like waiting for this hourly 333 SMA to clear out of the way. Should also kind of get near the bottom, which is the heavier kind of immediate buying pressure on things on this Neptune trend ribbon. It's probably going to coincide with, you know, that same level here, so there would be a breakdown of both of those things that are adding some support at the moment on Tesla. So yeah, break below 256.71. I'd be looking for targets at 254.63, 253.01, at 251.13 with a stop loss average down at 258.24. So that is your Tesla trade plan. Let's see. Target is dead, but I think Chris wanted to take a look at Target. Well, if Target's dead, we can take a look at puts, right? All right, let's take a look. See what Target has in store for us. And then if we have time, just so I'm not, so I'm spreading the love a little bit here, TurboTube, I'll circle back to Google if we have time. I do have, I think, pretty decent level on Target already. So, should be able to. Put something together on this, although I may have something I need to add. But yeah, Target's been kind of in the Bud Light of things, as far as, you know, not focusing on just being a company and weighing into essentially politics, which, you know, it's like being in human resources. It's just a no-win situation. And their share price is reflecting that. And I probably am going to have to actually do a little bit of levels on this, because I don't think I've really mapped much on Target this low. Just clean up these levels a little bit here so they don't distract me. Yeah, I can't worry about this later. I won't need those right now. Oh man, Target might be like, yeah. Yeah, dude, HR is, that's why I got an HR director. I mean, ugh, I do not envy her. Keeps that shit off my desk though, so that's a good thing. Oh gosh, yeah, it's brutal, man. I feel for her. But you know what? At the same time, whoever her boss is or whoever owns the company, I'm sure appreciates the hell out of her. Because I know I do. I hated dealing with HR. It's just total freaking nightmare. It's gotten worse. It has not gotten any better. Especially when you have guys like that work for you. Showing up in bear costumes. Alright, let's see. Target's got support. There's definitely a weekly support there. The thing that I feel like I'm missing on this level is any real display of resistance. So I think on this one, I'm gonna just flag it. Probably wind up marking that up on the daily chart. This is also an interesting level where we keep closing or wicking off this level here on the weekly, but again, not enough there to really call it a support and resistance level, because I can only see one side. And another one down here, actually, that's resistance. It's probably sitting right around there, so that's another one we'll look at on the daily. Now, here's another weekly level, though. Oh, or is it more down here? Let's see. Yeah, I think it is, actually. Right about here. Should be right. Yeah, we should be good. Foreseeable future on that. So let's take a look at, because again, we're having to look at essentially price action from what, back in the 2020s, 2019, 2020, to find these levels on Target, because it hasn't been down this low in that long since then. All right, so let's clean up these placeholder levels here. Where is that really sitting? probably a little bit more like that. This guy, still nothing but support. That one's still nothing but resistance. Okay. But I think that's probably also the lowest we're going to need to chart, so I'll keep those kind of on the radar as a bottom-ish to look at. Right. Interesting double bottom here, but not seeing any resistance touches. So this is another one where market TBD on that level. What else do we have here? I think there's something. It's right about here. And sorry, I tend to get a little bit quiet when I get into drawing these levels, so my apology. I'm trying to find a way to like pump some music in the background, but I guess for whatever reason Discord doesn't pick anything up my microphone. Interesting, yeah. One of those daily levels that we've put in place here at 105.55 looks to be the current support that Target's trying to hold. It's based on candles we weren't even looking at yet. Alright, let's go to the 4-hour chart. I'm probably going to speed things up here a little bit once I get on this, because it is my favorite time frame to look at, and gives us a lot more candles to work with. There we go. Alright. That's an interesting level. Same thing with this one right here. Alright, this level I think is down a little bit. Right about there, 4-hour level. Let's see, the challenging part about having to use these older levels is remembering where exactly current price action sits. And let's see. This is an interesting level. Let me take a look at. Yep, good point, Chris. But it is also hard to get the full benefit, I would say, of doing these if you're sort of watching them after the fact. And these run up right up to market open. A lot of times we see same day entries on our trade plans, but great for educational purposes, 1000%. Yep, got something right here. Let's see if I can confirm this. Yeah, this is a crazy. Yeah, I was gonna say it had to have been an earnings report. Just huge jump right there. Yeah, these are both still iffy levels, but this is interesting to me. I think. Nope, I was wrong. Did not coincide with that spot. Yeah, we've got some levels here that are just where waters that Target has not spent a lot of time in. Even though it's been significantly higher and lower than some of these spots, it just hasn't spent much time establishing go ahead and flag this level. I'm going to put this on watch and kind of start to feel out this downside. Upside will be easier because we can use the recent price action, but need to pitter patter here. Oops. Alright. Let's go to the hourly chart. And hide these guys for a second. Just want to see price action for a little bit. Alright. So I'm going to switch this up actually. What I like this as, I like this stop loss. Let's wait for this weekly level to break. I said before, weekly levels are key. I want to wait for that to break. I think that opens up room. Probably down to that support. You can see this a little bit on this hourly chart, just based on the current, what's currently here. Yeah, there's something sitting right about here. On the hourly chart. Gives us probably right at about a 1-to-1 risk reward, which is acceptable. Not ideal, but it's okay. We got a second price target here, a little bit lower. Then below that is when things get interesting to me for continuation down. I may have marked this 91.38 level a little, well, I don't know. I'm looking at right about here. It's close. Let's see. I'm just gonna flag this real quick. Let's see how this plays out. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So yeah, I like that as a third price target. We'll mark this on the hourly. Alright, so there's downside trade plan, now the upside. And I'm going to want to see my indicators for this. So yeah, Neptune's got pressure on it all the way up through this level, which is kind of where I was looking anyway. Here at 110.36. I want that to break for upside. There's a flip right here on the hourly. I think we'd be crazy to not use as a stop loss. Whoops, I'm just 4 pixels. Right color, there we go. I think over this, yep, gives us to this 112.41 level that I spotted just a minute ago over that. I'll be looking for this weekly level, PT2. There's a level somewhere in here that I've not yet sniffed out. Looks like it's probably right here. But let's check both these. It could also be around here. This is, neither of these are confirmed. I need to take a look at this. And again, sometimes based on where things currently sit, you have to go way the F back. But it also proves that, again, once you've drawn these support and resistance levels, you know, sometimes they come from years ago. They're still effective at catching bounces, rejections, reactions in general years later. So that's why I spend all that time doing them up front and then use them for quite some time after that. Yeah, I'm really, I was kind of between these two, liking this higher of the two price targets. Believe it or not, they're at 117.85, and I think that's, yeah, that's where I want to shoot for a third price target. Also, confluence with the 333 SMA up there, so yeah, I like that. Okay, so this is what our target trade plan looks like. Yeah, this is actually has some good confluences in this trade plan. Top of the Neptune flag, 200 SMA could wind up being near PT1 depending on when that break happens. 333 SMA could wind up being, I'd keep both of these levels on watch. If that 333 SMA drops down, it has confluence with this 11688 level, which was kind of the alternate PT1. Actually, you know what? Now that I say that, I am going to switch this. I think we get up to 11785 based on price action, but this 333 SMA probably drops down and adds a confluence there at that 11688 level. So I'm gonna drop that down actually a little bit. And then to the downside, this will be interesting to see first. Yeah, just over a 1-to-1 risk reward, so that's acceptable. I mean, ideally to PT1, ideally it's 1.5 or better to PT1. Overall trade plan 2.7 though. 0.75, 2 3/4. All right, to 1. Here is our target trade plan. And what we're looking at here on target is for a break of 110.36 to try to catch some upside on this one. That'll give us targets at 112.41, 114.80, and 116.88. Potentially pushes up to 117.85. Just keep an eye on it. I'd say shoot for whichever of those two levels the 333 SMA is touching at the time the price action reaches that point, if it gets that high that fast. To the downside, I'd be looking for a break below, stop loss average down on that trade plan 108.65. To the downside, I'd be looking for a break of 102.35 with targets at 98.90, 96.59, and 93.26 with a stop loss average down at 105.55. With that, we're about 13 minutes away from market open. I do need to go get the SPY plan together for you guys. That will be posted in the options watch list. I'm going to start to close it up here. I really appreciate everybody who's joined me this morning for taking the time to start your trading day with me. I really do appreciate it. And honestly, you guys give me a reason to continue to hone my skills. So thank you for being Xtrades members, and thanks for joining these live streams. We will be back next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Yeah, you're very welcome, Harry. Appreciate you coming. What's up, Navy Plum? Thank you as always, buddy. Loyal listener here every morning, bright and early. Same thing with Strife. Strife was a little bit late, but that's okay. No, I'll give you a pass because you're always here and probably before I am. So thank you guys very much for continuing to show up. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So with that, I'm going to go get the SPY plan together. Let's bring our boy 007 in with a quick soundbite.
Plan your trades and trade your plans.
That's right, folks. Plan your trades, trade your plans. Go out there and get some green. I will see you guys around in the chat. You know, I've been a little bit quiet this week. Just had some things going on. But should be much more active today and looking forward to it. So you guys have a fantastic day. Go out there, secure the bag. We'll see you back here next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time.